Good evening. How are my Facebook buddies? What are you guys up to this evening? I think it's almost 9 o'clock over here in Montana. Cold. Ugh. I'm telling you, I am meant to be in a warm state during these times of seasons. Anyways, I just had to come on tonight. Hi, Debbie. To share some really cool stuff that I just know will help you as long as you are open-minded and take into consideration that we are like literally the common denominator in any relationship, including with ourselves. Melissa, hey girl. Anyway, so I'm just got done doing my phone message with my husband and getting ready for bed. Well, not really. I'll probably sit up a little bit longer, do my nighttime journaling and stuff. Hi, Glenda. So, anyways, how you can stop an argument with anyone? Obviously it's not going to happen overnight for you. You just got to start putting it into practice. Anyways, it has been in my experience for 10 years when I began doing mindset work and understanding, language and how to communicate, connect better with people. Just understanding who I am as a way of being and how I show up in my relationships with people and, with my husband, with my children, just with people in general. And so I guess I'll start this with something that just recently happened for me so that I can just share with you like what that would actually look like how do you stop something that could potentially turn into an argument or upset. I don't know about you, but there's many times, whether it be with my husband, my mom, anybody really, where you just feel like like they're talking or something, and something they say just triggers you, and you're all of a sudden in your mind thinking, shitty thoughts like, and what a jerk, or I don't know what you would be thinking, but for example, recently, so my husband, he he works out of town, and so he's actually been gone for 10 months, and comes home for a day on fatigue days or whatever here and there, and he might come home for 2 days. He got to come home for Christmas for like a week, which was so awesome. Anyways, we're going to be going on 24 years to get to being together, and it's hard work for sure to create a juicy, joyful, fun, playful, erotic, whatever I want it to be. Like, I get to create my relationship. But it never used to be like that. Like, we would get into fights. I mean, they would be bad. Not really physically. There was one time I hit him. And, yeah, it wasn't a pretty thing. I just lost my shit after I had my baby. And, and I could justify that with, my hormones were all out of whack and I was just messed up and I just had a baby, but I won't. It was easy to go there. Anyways, so we've been together for, like I said, going on 24 years. And we have lots of friends or people who watch us over the years, who've been around us and have experienced being around us. And I always get these great compliments about our relationship and stuff. And before I began doing this kind of work, it just never used to be like that. And people would say, how do you guys do it? I mean, it's amazing that you guys are still together. Most people are separated, within a few years, and it's a commitment. It's definitely comes from a place of your heart. It's a place of love. And when you're not in that place, you definitely, all kinds of shit can happen. So, however, we've been through a tremendous amount of stuff together. So, we've always been told we're like salt and pepper, but when you put us in the shaker, we make a great mix. We just complement each other. So, anyways, I'm very blessed, very, very blessed, and I love my husband deeply. Anyways, so when he's gone, we never know how long he'll be gone for, when he is home, how long he'll be home before he gets called out on the next job. But this time, it was actually like the most longest time that he's been gone. 10 months is a long time for us. And, but during that time, we kept creating our relationship. Oh, bye, Melissa. During that time, though, we had our ups and downs. And the thing is, what's different now than what it was 10 years, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is we've been able to communicate way differently, obviously, with each other in a way that we trust each other. We're safe. And hi, Dela. Hi, Alicia. So anyways, so I keep saying creating, and what I mean by that is like we are the common denominator as an individual. Like we are ourselves, and I'm sure you guys know all that, right? But people typically don't know that like they could actually be the one who creates how that relationship can go. Now, I'm not saying that the other person is doesn't have like their stuff and they have their part in the relationship as well. But here's the thing, it's always been a lie that it's 50-50. The truth is it's 100. One of the really great tools that I learned is that it can't be 150 or 50 and 25, none of that stuff. It's just 100%. But the key to this is that it's not 100% over there. Like I can't be thinking about, well, is he bringing his 100% to this relationship? Because then I'm making it all about me. So when I'm coming from a place of I'm 100%, then I'm 100%, and that's all that matters. That's all that counts. When he's not bringing his 100%, I'm not sitting around pointing out all of those things that he's not doing, or the integrity that's lacking there. And I used to struggle with it because, well, how do you talk to him about, like, how do you have a conversation about your thoughts and feelings? And the thing is, like, I didn't grow up where I learned a way to communicate effectively with people. Like, that just wasn't something that was taught. And so communication was like a really challenging skill for me to develop for myself. And especially in a relationship. And so it has definitely taken a lot of time and practice. However, because of that knowledge, I've been able to come fully 100% into this relationship and learn that whatever's going on over there is going on over there, and that's like his, sacred space. And when I'm thinking about the things that he's not doing what I think he should be doing, or how it should be done, or if he's not saying what I think he should be saying or not saying, or, like there's all that stuff. Why doesn't he take me out on a date? Or he should be taking me out on a date, or there's just like so many different ways that you could look at this when you're coming from the point of view of when you're thinking to yourself what he should be doing or how he should be doing it. And you're taking away from your relationship when you're in that space. So, hi Megan. And so, first off, what I do regularly is I get to a place of where I know what I'm committed to in my relationship, and I also know what is from that place of commitment. I go into what am I grateful for, and I look for the things that I'm grateful for in my relationship, and then I also take and I look at exactly what am I grateful for in him specifically.
Mom.
Yeah.
Can you follow me?
So, let me get to the point here. So I wanted to share like just an example of what does this look like and how can you stop an argument with anybody. It doesn't, it could be with your spouse, your children, whatever. The first thing is to always just be aware of, sorry, it's getting dark. I'm following my daughter. Just to always be aware of your thinking. What are the thoughts that are going on in your mind during a conversation? While also fully listening. So not be like constantly in your head thinking, oh my gosh, what was that thought? You can't do that. Like you'd just be in your head all day long. I'm just saying being aware of your thoughts. So here you are, you're listening and then something triggers. And so, for example, my husband here, I think it was like 2 days ago, we're really flirty with each other on the phone, and he's like getting excited. We're getting excited because his layoff is coming. We didn't know exactly when. So, anyway, so we're sitting there and he's flirting with me, and I was talking about, oh great, now I can get back on my schedule at 4, being up at 4 in the morning, because I love being up at 4 in the morning, and here lately I've been a little off the schedule with that. Anyways, and so he's like, yeah, we can go play a little before Bella gets up. And so immediately my mind went to, oh, great. He's going to be like interfering with my morning routine. And I have to laugh because it's just a really great point to make here, even though it's kind of on the sexual side of things. Because who wouldn't want to have a great sex life? I mean, I know I have one. Even when he's not here, we have a great sex life. But anyways, so he's talking and he said that, and I immediately went into my head from being excited about, yeah, he's coming home, and then he said that, and then I went right into my head. I got triggered, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Thanks for reminding me. Now you're gonna interrupt my morning routine. And I knew he was experiencing that over there with him. Because he's like, oh, you're a peckerhead, okay, so he's responding to that vibration. I didn't even say anything out loud, but he could sense the shift in my vibration and who I was being, because I was being excited, and then I went from being excited to disappointed and like, oh my gosh. And I was aware of this. I became pretty aware of it immediately, like, oh my gosh, like, where's this coming from? So, hey Alex. So the first thing is to be aware. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of your feelings that you have as you're having a conversation with anybody, with your kids, with your spouse, with your coworkers, with your boss. If you're self-employed, maybe it's your team of people. I don't know. Just with anybody. You're always just being aware of those triggers. And the thing is, so here's the thing about that. So if you're aware of first, like what I'm committed to, and what I'm committed to is that I bring play and excitement and fun and juiciness to our relationship. And as soon as I'm not as soon as I'm not bringing that vibration or that way of being, because you express how you're being when you're with people, and they sense that, like they sense your way of being. So being aware of your thinking or the thoughts or the feelings that get triggered, later you can allow yourself some time to just kind of process, okay, what was going on there? And just check in with yourself. So, I realized, okay, as soon as he acknowledged by saying you're a peckerhead, then I was actually able to step back and just kind of, oh, what is that? So being aware, 1. 2, after I hung up with him, I started just checking in with myself and doing some of the inner work and asking myself questions like, what was that about? Because I have already been noticing, I want to say, some frustration and irritation about him coming home. And looking at exactly where is that coming from and what is that about. And so acknowledging that with myself and work through that. And then what I found was I was coming from the old paradigm of thinking, the old me, the me who was very selfish, was definitely not always bringing 100%, and I would immediately, I went immediately into how it used to be. So my mind went right back into the past. So that's the thing, is you want to understand that all of your thinking is past thinking. And all we have is right now, in the moment that we get to create. And so as soon as you're not in that space where you're creating from, then you're coming from the past. And so when you're creating now, you're in that moment with that person. And I was able to acknowledge with myself by being aware of my own triggers, my thinking patterns, and those types of things that will trigger what's going on with me. And by doing that, I can actually identify where that came from, what it was about, because I can tell you that people who normally get triggered by something that somebody says, it's because they have not dealt with their own stuff. They have their own stuff about stuff, and it's coming from the past. So for me, in this particular conversation, where it was coming from was we never really used to have a lot of fun. We never used to do a lot of things together. Date nights, for example. It was, he would just sit and watch TV all the time, and I'd be on my computer all the time, and we had great sex all the time. We always do, except for it's gotten better. I have to add that. Anyways, let me get off the sex part. I'm just excited that he's coming home, because that's definitely a need that needs to get fulfilled. Hey, Maisie. So anyways, I wouldn't get that need fulfilled because I'd be too busy over here in my head thinking about how much he's going to be interrupting my routine. And what do you think would happen? What would happen is, if I didn't know this kind of work, if I didn't understand this way of thinking and the way of being and stuff, the way it would look is it would fester in my mind. I would express it through irritation, frustration. I would be snappy with him. I would be distant. And the reason why is because there's something there that's unsaid. I'm not actually sharing myself fully with him and communicating with him my thoughts and feelings. And because I'm not communicating that, then what do you think's happening? It's over here with me, and he has no idea what the hell's wrong. So why? And then, his reaction could be he's starting to get frustrated and upset, and before you know it, we're in an argument or fighting about some stupid crap, because we would be looking for things that would upset us. Now, that's what people already do. That's what we used to do. However, sometimes it could actually lead to that, where we will actually have, some distance or some frustration or some upset going on. And today, I can tell you that it just doesn't last as long. And so, but before, it used to last for days. And it would carry out. And, we might have a day or two, or we'd have a break from the crap and then be right back at each other's throats again. But that's not what we're committed to. So, because of our commitment to each other and to our own self and our own self-growth, we've learned ways to communicate and talk about it. And it can be a struggle sometimes, depending on what it is that you want to talk about or communicate with them about. But I do know that the first thing is to be aware of your thoughts and your feelings in a conversation with people. And just being aware of those triggers and those feelings that are coming up around things that they might be saying. The first thing you've got to get, is it about them or is it about you? Because they're not in control of your feelings. They have nothing to do with how you feel. And that's where people get hung up and will fight about it. They will argue with me, that's not true, he made me mad, or she pissed me off, hey Debbie, but the fact of the matter is, if you really check in with yourself, where is the anger coming from? It comes from your thinking, your thought that you had about something they said, and then you have an emotion behind that thought or that feeling behind the thought. And then you're pissed off or angry or frustrated or irritated, whatever that may be for you. Nobody can make you feel the way you're feeling, think the thoughts you're having. That is all you, 100% you. Now they are being whoever they're being, and they're saying whatever they're saying. It's what we make it mean in that conversation. And if you check in with yourself, it's usually coming from a place of something from the past. Maybe it's something that was unsaid. And in my particular situation, that's what I used to experience. And so I never would say anything out of fear of an argument, or that I would say something wrong or hurt his feelings, and then when I would try to communicate it, I would come from a place of being pissed off or upset or frustrated about whatever it was that I wanted to say, which didn't in the long run help matters. So first, being aware. Second, being responsible for your thoughts and way of thinking and feeling. So tonight, after I did the first step, which was being aware, actually the second step is after being aware, then you're looking at, okay, well, where did this come from? What's this really about? Because this isn't about him. He's enjoying himself, right? I made it about me. Okay, well, why? What was that about? You're constantly just being inquisitive with yourself. And then you just kind of uncover, well, what's really there? Well, what was really there is what I'm committed to, and I had a fear, which has nothing to do with him, that it would just be the same way it used to be years ago. Then the third step is to be responsible for that. So when we talked tonight, so this was like, I think yesterday or the day before this all went down. So tonight it was just having a conversation with him from a place of love and what I'm committed to in our relationship. And just expressing and bringing light to it, just bringing some laughter and some light to it, and saying, oh my gosh, like I just had this thought, like, and you probably may have noticed, honey, that I was just all of a sudden kind of being weird. And he just giggles, and he's like, yeah. And I go, yeah, it was weird. Like, I just had these thoughts about, like, it's not going to be fun, and you're going to start interfering with my routine. But is that really true? It's not. It's not true. Like, I get to create my day, right? I get to create how my routine is. I have my boundaries. I have my non-negotiables. These are the things that I need to get done first. Or I can choose to do something with him first thing in the morning and then tackle my day, which won't happen because meditation and journaling are my priority. But he gets that and he supports that. But he wouldn't had I not actually communicated that to him, right? Like sometimes I think we just expect the other person that they should know how we feel, how we think. I know I used to. So that's how you can actually stop an argument before one happens. Literally. Like, just be responsible for your own thinking and your own feelings. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with I had those thoughts, or we only make them bad because that's what we're thinking. We're making it bad. So, anyways, so once I had that conversation with him and told him, exactly what I was thinking, but I brought fun to it. I was playful about it. I brought that there's nothing wrong here. It's just this was what was there, right? And so now we've communicated, and now he can experience with me, oh, okay, so she had a concern. That's all it was. She had a concern, and how can we address that? Well, and so we talked about, well, what can we do to make sure that we continue to bring play into our relationship, to continue to bring quality time alone together.
What's my cup with the
hot chocolate?
No, one that had the tea in it.
Yeah, where at?
We're going to this.
Hi, Helen. Hi, Tristan.
No, the one with the gummy in the top. In the car.
Oh, okay. I'm almost finished here, and as soon as I'm done, I promise I will go and get it out of the car. Okay?
Not soon.
Not soon enough for you? I get that.
Please. Please.
Anyways, so there you go. If you want to stop an argument before it happens, that's what you do. 1, be aware of your own thinking and how you're feeling, what's triggering you. And, really try not to respond to or from, well, not respond, but react. You're reacting from stuff that's from the past anyways, that's triggered you. So just don't say anything. Well, I shouldn't say don't say anything. Just, you know what? Like something you just said, I need to think about this for a minute. And just check in with yourself. So that's it. You're checking in with yourself. You're being aware. The second thing is doing some of the inner work. What's going on? Where's it coming from? 3, getting responsible for it and communicating it. Getting that elephant out into the room keeping things unsaid said, and then creating something new. And so in our case, we are committed to making sure we have date nights, and we're, communicating all our needs and frustrations and whatever. So there you have it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it was probably a lot drawn out, but hey, I like to talk. You're either going to listen or you don't. That's your business. Anyways, have a good evening. Namaste.